Hey guys, welcome back to Cards and Comics, and today I got a little interesting story for you. Back in 2018, I was preparing to send in a big order to PSA. Well, big for me, around 25 cards. And around that same time, I got really sick with a leg infection and went to the hospital. And I was diagnosed with sepsis and a severe infection. And it actually almost took my leg, and I almost lost my leg. About 40% of my leg was ended up with scarring or kind of like third-degree burns. And so I spent about 2 months afterwards kind of rehabbing and trying to figure out, kind of the walking and dealing with pain. And then around the same time, I was also enrolled in law school. So I was getting my master's degree in law. So I kind of forgot about that PSA order. And evidently, when I got sick, it kind of got put on a shelf. Maybe my wife or somebody stuck it there. I'm not sure. But I kind of forgot about it. And now, 2 years later, going through cards, I actually found the order. And so I got it into two piles here. I got it kind of a modern and vintage card. So we'll go through the vintage cards first, the modern cards first, and kind of show you what I was going to submit in 2018. First off, there's 6 Juan Soto rookie cards. So these are all from Heritage. And so these are, I think, what you would call his base rookie out of Heritage. They're worth about $20 a piece. Graded PSA 10, they're probably $150, so worth a shot. Next up is 2 Ginter X Acuna rookie cards, and so I opened 2 boxes of Ginter X and got 1 Acuna in each box. So I figured I'd send them in and see what we get. They're about $30 a piece raw. Next is a 2018, I guess, but a Acuna refractor Heritage. So this is kind of an interesting card. It's a cool photo of him, and people like the refractors from the set. They always sell really well. Next up is a 16 chrome Mike Trout, and I have a big Mike Trout collection, so I was just getting this card graded for my collection. Next up is 2 Wander Franco Bowman Chrome rookie card. So this is his first Bowman Chrome card. These go about $60 a piece, and again, 2 of them, so about $120 there. This was in there, which is a Topps Chrome Russell Wilson, and I looked at the card and it's got some issues, so I'm not sure I would send this in today. I think I was kind of wishful thinking this card a little bit, thinking it would grade probably better. It's probably a PSA 7 based on the scratches and things like that. So, but would have been a cool card to find earlier in the year when he was hot. Next up is a Piazza rookie card from Fleer, and I think this is a really cool card. I think it's kind of undervalued. The set's worth about $100 nowadays, so if you can find the set, so I would have cost you $100. So the card's $70 raw and graded, a couple $100. So it's worth, if it comes back at 10. Next up after that is 2 EX Michael Jordan cards, and they both come from SGC holders. This Jordan is 96, I believe this is 2006. And they're both worth about $100. This actual later Jordan sells a little bit higher in the raw than this Jordan, so it must be a little more rare. But they're both really desirable, and a lot of people like these EX Jordans, and about $100 raw, a couple $100 graded. The card that really surprised me when I went through this order was this card, because this is, Josh Allen's rookie year, and so evidently I was going to send in a Josh Allen. I guess being in the Buffalo area made me want to get it graded, maybe take some card shows. It's a cool card. It goes about $300 raw, and graded, about $600 as a 10. So it's worthwhile to get graded. It's really nice to find a $300 raw card anytime you get a chance. So that was a nice surprise. And the only card that I really can kind of consider, like, why would I grade this card today, is this McCaffrey rookie card. I'm pretty sure he was hot around that time, and this is really my only rookie card of him. And it's like a $30 card now, but I don't think I would spend the money today to get that graded. So, and then moving on to the vintage. I know a lot of people like the vintage, and so here is. Most of these came from SGC holders, and so this is kind of the tail end of my SGC to PSA crossover era. I've got everything tallied up from that era in terms of my grades, and so one of these days I'll share it with everyone to show you how I did. The short of that whole story was, I made more money, but I lost grades pretty heavily. I think I averaged about a 1.5 grade loss on every card I submitted. However, when I did get something to cross over higher, the sales of those cards actually made up for the loss of grades. So that just shows you, how much PSA sells for in the high grade over SGC, even on vintage. I know it's closed the gap a little bit, but at the time I did it, definitely not. So here is a Chief Myers card. This is a General Baking card. The Bruner's Bread might be more familiar to people. This card, I think, was an SGC 1.5. It's got some issues. It's missing a little paper on the back. So I would assume a 1 or 2 grade, but I'm a big Chief Myers, Chief Bender collector, and so he's just from the collection. And speaking of Chief Bender, here's a T206 trees in the background. And, I think it's trees in the background. But the cool thing about this one is that it's got an old mill back. And old mill backs are more rare. And I'm a big fan of the old mill, of just any of the more rare backs. It's definitely more rare than Piedmont or Sweet Caporal. So that's in there. I'm pretty excited to get that card graded and put it in my collection. Next up is a 33 Indian Gum, same company that made Gouty. This whole set is a really cool set. In terms of just nostalgia. And again, I collect a lot of Native American themed cards and comic books. That's one of my side collections. And so I've been putting this set together slowly over time. And this is a pretty nice card. It's probably a 4 or 5. Fits right in with the grade of my collection. My collection goes from everything from a 2 to a 6. So next up is a 60 Topps Ernie Banks. This card was an SGC 86. The last time I sent it into PSA, it came back altered, and then I sent it in a second time, and it came back mint size. So I'm going to try it a third time, just to see what they say. I mean, hey, maybe the third time's a charm, but it came from an SGC 86 holder, so that is, in a nutshell, how you can lose a lot of money on SGC cards, mint size and altered. So again, this card from a SGC holder, this is a Billy Williams. This card, for people who don't grade 62s very often, this is actually a really tough card from 62. I will say, looking at the card and seeing it in this condition, I am a little nervous it's going to min size. This card min sizes a lot for people who grade, so I'm not that hopeful it'll grade. I think it's going to get the min size. I don't think it's going to give me a letter grade. And again, another example of why going to SGC to PSA sometimes just doesn't work out. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to send it in and we'll see what happens. Next up is 269s, and these were both SGC 92s. They're nice for the grade. The back's nice. So overall, I don't see any issues with these cards. So I think they should grade. Next up is 69 Pete Rose. So again, I don't see anything really wrong with this card. These were SGC 86s. The backs are nice, a little faded on the Rose, but I don't see anything that would lead me to believe that they're trimmed or altered. So I really like those two cards. Next up was, I went to this came from the National, the last time we had a National, and this guy had a bunch of these 71s on his table, and I just kind of cherry picked the nicest one, and I'm hoping I get a 7 on it. It's really nice, a little off center, but there always are, and I think the edges are good enough to get a 7. So we'll see. Maybe PSA will be nice to me. Next up is some 74 Peachy. So these came from a pack that somebody opened and sold the cards. And so I end up buying some cards from this guy who opened some 74 Peachy. So they're all roll pack fresh. The Bobby Bonds is probably the nicest of the lot. You know, the O-Peachies in 74 are just incredibly tough to get. So I've got it. I've got the Manny Sanguian, which is, I'm a pirate collector, and that card is just one of the cooler Sanguian cards, and it's just a cool card. Low pop. Then the next one is a Hall of Famer, Billy Williams, the only Hall of Famer in this little section of cards. And last but not least, this card's really gained some traction in the Topps version, and this is the O-Peachy version of Dave Parker rookie card. As a pirate collector, obviously, I really like this card, but the fact that it's an O-Peachy, and I have the Dave Winfield in a PSA 7. It'd be awesome to get the Parker in a 7 as well, or maybe even a little higher. It is a nice card, and it may grade a little higher than I think, so we'll see. Lastly here, two 70s hockey cards. These both came from, again, SGC holders. This is an all-star card from 71. So it's O-Peachy, so you can see the bilingual back. And yeah, the O-Peachys are really nice. And I kind of dig anything from this era of hockey cards. And right behind it is a Topps Gordie Howe. This card sells really well in a PSA 7 or 8, so that's what I'm hoping to get. I actually have that card in the 7 already. And then last but not least is a 52 Bowman Enos Slaughter. It's a nice card. I think it will grade okay. It came from a 7 holder, and I think that's about what it'll grade. So that's it. Hope you enjoy my Lost PSA order that I've just found, and kind of now I have all these cards back in my collection, and I'm going to go back through and probably will send them in to get graded. And when I get the results, I'll share with you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.